What makes a ball player, bro?
They don't leave things up to chance. They control everything in their power. They do not leave things up to chance.
See ya. Welcome to quite possibly, in my opinion, we've had tremendous guests on the show. This one holds a place near and dear to my heart. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ball 5, not a baseball podcast, but low-key. It is presented by the one and only Baseball Lifestyle, BL 101. Before you continue to watch this magic that's about to ensue, I don't even know what we're going to talk about, but I just know this is going to be an incredible episode. Go to BL101.com, shop the newest collections. If you're a ball player, if you like to rep on and off the field, that is the number one place to shop. They've been around since Perry and I were in middle school, and they just keep climbing. So do yourself a favor, grab some threads. The guy sitting across from me today, I'm not going to let you say a word.
Yeah, don't say a word yet. We're gonna give you your flowers.
Yeah. The guy sitting across from me right now professionally is the mental performance coach for the Cleveland Guardians. Before that, he was in the military, working with guys on their mental performance in the military. He's worked with NASA. He's worked with Google. He's worked with all of the biggest and baddest names and people you've heard of and probably never heard of. To us, he's Brian Miles. And I got to be honest, I've been waiting forever to be able to do this, what I'm about to do right now. We're going to clip this up and we're going to post it on my Instagram. And I hope that it gets, I hope it's my most viewed video of all time. And even then, Bri, it's not going to be able to do of service to who you are and what you mean to Perry and I.
Yeah.
There's 3 people in my life that influence every single day I step out and take on the world, that influence the thoughts that come into my head and everything in between. My parents, I'll count them as 1. My godmother, who's no longer here, and Brian Miles, right there. Dude, you have seen me at my lowest, for lack of a better word. You've put your hand out and pulled me out of the gutter countless times. You've answered every one of my crazy phone calls where random points of the day you pick up and I'm on the other line like, dude, like I don't know how to handle it, like hyperventilating, and you just kind of walk me through the panic, the chaos, the anxiety. You've given me tools in my toolbox that literally make me feel invincible. And I know for a fact that I wouldn't be here in this office and continue to have the fortitude to do what we've been doing without you. And on top of that, you are a perfect example of a husband, a father, a friend, and a professional. Yeah. So I love you, man. And it's just so great to have you on.
Yeah. And I have to, I don't know if I could match everything he said, but I definitely feel the same way. Bri, like you changed my life, like on a very personal note. Like I wouldn't be here. Yeah. We wouldn't be here without you. Like, to give a quick synopsis, like I was just a 20-year-old kid who was writing a book because I thought it was something that I needed to do. And I didn't know I wanted to get into mental performance, learn about the mental game, something that I struggled with as a player. And when I connected with you, it was like immediate vibes, immediate mentorship. I looked up to you. I wanted to be you growing up. And I didn't think that was man, I might tear up. Like this is something that words can't express how grateful I am for you. And I don't think I've ever teared up off camera with you about this, but like I wouldn't be a coach. I wouldn't be here today. Coach Perry's not a thing. Me being involved with Nick and us connecting together, it's not a thing if it wasn't for that first Zoom call in April of 2020. Like, changed my life, and I love you.
Man,
you bald ass.
Yeah, show the ball. Whenever we're at a Yankees Guardians game, Brian always texts us like before he goes out to the dugout. He's like, "Hey, Make sure you guys see my shiny bald head. You guys know I'm there because you don't wear the.
I wear hats now.
Oh,
I actually
okay.
wear hats in the dugout now.
Graduated.
I graduated up. Can't see
There
this
you go.
beautiful bald head right here, man. Boys, I obviously I appreciate so much like the relationship and the friendship and the mentorship and the kinship that we've experienced together. But it's also about you both as men. Just like I just happen to be a unique Sherpa on your guys' journey up the mountain, and I feel so lucky that I got to walk beside you guys, not in front of you, not behind you, just beside you guys in this like fascinating journey that's just beginning for both of you. But like everything, you know, I was explaining to somebody that works with Nick about my connection to like this area that we're sitting in right now, and like the drive in here and being close to Montclair State. And I was talking about how, you know, meeting my wife when we were 18 and how we both almost didn't go to school there. And now we do, and we did. And now we have, you know, a beautiful 6-year-old daughter and a almost 4-year-old son.
Shout out Mars, shout out Mac.
Shout out Marlo and Mac, and shout out Meg, obviously.
Shout out Meg.
The absolute
And Montclair
best.
State.
And Montclair State. But I was saying like, man, like, you know, Megan and I almost didn't go to Montclair, and look at where we are now. It's like, you know, Perry reached out to me in the pandemic, and he was like, hey, will you help me write a chapter in my book? And I was like, man, I don't.
Bro, you said no. Like,
I did. I straight up said no. Which, that's
no.
a mental skill, right? It's like
100%.
You know your bandwidth, right?
Yes.
I said no, and I followed that up with, but like, hey, man, it's the pandemic. Things are crazy right now. Like, let's just jump on some calls. I'm happy to like discuss mental performance, even help you write that chapter in a way that's more of like you doing it and from your experience and what you bring to the table. But never would have thought that it would lead on this wild journey to this place.
I still can't believe that like us three are just like chopping it up in front of cameras. People are going to get so much value from this conversation from you and your knowledge. Like, bro, this is going to be electric. And I can't wait. I can't wait.
Second that. I think you have such a great way of explaining complex things to people that don't understand them. And it really is magic. And what you've taught me and Perry, and I'm sure all the people that you interact with in the major leagues, on the Guardians, and whomever you come in contact with about this stuff, it's like, you've taught us that mental performance is not something you get from a book. It's what you do after you read the book. And I think the stuff that I kind of want to get into today is, I think, you know, there's a lot of stuff on social media from people that you don't really know whether they've like gone in the trenches, what their credentials are, and you don't, you know, we've got to a point where like you'll read something on social media and you just like believe it blindly. And, you know, to have somebody as accredited as you, and then 2 testimonials before we started,
with tears coming out.
Yeah, with the tears coming out, like, it genuinely changes lives, and performance is different from mental health, like we were kind of talking about. But I think that you know, on my day-to-day, there's so many tools that are in my toolbox that I've learned from you about attention and about you know, being at a level 10. How do we get back to a 5? Mitigate your energy. What are you focusing on? Like, all these sorts of different skills that I would just love to sort of, I'm just going to kind of start asking.
Let's break it. Let's break it all down.
Break it down. I think because the people that are going to watch this are just normal people, and they're people that are playing ball in high school, college, or parents. And, you know, I think everybody could benefit from it. I think what I want to kind of get going on is, there's a lot of BS out there. Like, let's cut through the noise and let's just directly ask, like, if you were to have a Swiss Army knife of performance skills on your day-to-day, what would be the most important to you?
That is
how about that, huh?
I mean, it's definitely one of the more loaded questions that you can get on a podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
And
if I threw you off, we could just...
You didn't throw me off because
he's always ready.
Because he's always ready.
He's always
I'm
ready.
not always. I mean, it's not about being ready. It's about, and again, I think the interesting thing about a Swiss Army knife is there's multiple tools on it. And so the individual needs to use the tool when it's needed. And so what I might need most in my day could be very different from what you each need to use in your day, and what a listener might need to use as well. And I do get asked often, like, what is the mental skill that's most important? What do you
Right.
need? And it's hard to pick one. But I think I've realized over the course of time, and I think there's very tangible skills for performance. I think that the skill that is utilized in my life the most, and that I discuss the most with larger groups, is hunting the good stuff. And
I
so
love that.
I'm a firm believer that hunting the good stuff can drastically impact not just the individual, but the people that you're in close proximity to as well.
Yeah.
And the story I tell a lot, I think I've probably told it to both of you guys, is like, all right, so you go back, 15,000 years ago, and you're a caveman or a cave woman, and you're walking and you're out there foraging for berries, and you're hunting, and you hear a rustling in the bushes, right? So you sit there like, oh, what's that rustling? And like a saber-tooth tiger jumps out, right? So you have an adverse reaction, like, and then you run away, and you go back and you tell everyone, like, oh my God, there was like a saber-tooth tiger in the bush when it rustled. We should remember that danger, right? That was scary. That was a scary thing. We should remember that. Like, we should all talk about that and see that, and sort of this negative thing that happened to us. And so our brains started to develop this bias where when something bad happens, we remember it, right? We weight it, we see it, and the negativity bias was created. And so you fast forward now 15,000 years to today, and there are no longer saber-tooth tigers rustling around in bushes, but that negativity bias in which we weight, see, and like remember the negative things in our lives more than the positive things is very prevalent and very real. And so how do you counteract the negativity bias? You hunt the good stuff. Hunt is a verb. You seek the silver lining. Seek is a verb. You have to actively do it. It's not something that just happens because the negativity bias is there pushing against it. So you have to push back. How do you do it? You hunt the good stuff.
How do you practice that on a day-to-day basis when you're just going about your day?
It's great. So some people do it where they have a gratitude journal, or in our world, it's a hunt the good stuff journal, right? It's a simple question, like right at the very top of it, what are 3 good things that happened to me today? Right. So it's not about the actual thing; it's about the act of doing. And I think people get fixated on the, well, like these, oh, my kid graduated from college, or I won the lottery. This, like, I got a new job. Like those are like very big good things. What's the day-to-day good thing? I mean, I just drove here, right? Hit tons of traffic and stuff like that. Maybe it's you hit all green lights on the way to work. Maybe it's you had an incredible cup of coffee. Maybe you were driving into work today and you heard your favorite Mariah Carey song and it just got the vibe right, and you're feeling good. It's just like
Mariah
it's these
Carey.
shout out Mariah Carey, right?
He's got the best Christmas playlist known to man.
I was gonna change that story to it being Christmas time, but
no, we're locking on this.
All right, so it's identifying those little things, right? And this is like a secondary part that I think there's 2 secondary parts. It's a reflection of it too. So it's not just writing down the good things, which is important, but it's a little bit of like, how can I have more of this good thing? Like what are things I can do to have? Maybe it's a little bit of the reflection part. How can I have more of this good things? Who can I share this good thing with? And that's an additional part of it. Is you think negativity is contagious? Gratitude and optimism is wildly contagious. So it's about shifting the questions that you ask the people in your lives, and this is the big thing. And it's instead of the "How was your day?" question, in which the individual that you ask that to will most likely unload all the negative things that happen. Oh, let me tell you about Terry at work today, right? Let me tell you about what Johnny did, right? Or oh my God, this guy cut me off, right? So instead of asking them "How was your day?" it's like hey, like, what was the best part of your day? What was one good thing that happened today at work? What was one? And then you want to talk about your kids, man. It's just, instead of the "How was school? How was camp?" question, ask them, like, what was your favorite part?
About camp?
What was the best part?
Because you know what that does, Brian? You're right, because it's not, you could just sit here and write things down that are positive, but it's not about, like you said, the act of doing it. It's it's the act that then creates in like the subconscious. Like now you're almost open to seeing it more. And the more you do it, the more you create this sort of optimism. And then you get into a place where over time, and the reason I pull my phone and I'll show you in one sec, over time, you almost, like we talked about, like you used to teach us about the roadways. Like a lot of people have a negativity bias that's a super highway, and the positivity bias is pretty much a dirt road.
Yeah.
But every time we think about something positive, that road is getting built and this road is getting destroyed. And over time, we want a super highway of positivity. And when you get to the point where you have a super highway, you almost feel bulletproof in a sense, because things are going to happen to you.
Yeah.
But the way you choose to look at it, and people like think sometimes that I'm probably a little nuts, or Perry's probably a little nuts, or everybody who practices is a little nuts, because things happen in life. And my first reaction is like, what's good? What's going to be good that comes from this? And this happens in some really dark things. But what it is for me too is, and it's so important that you said this, it's like it really is the little things. And the reason I'm pulling this up is because I have a hunt the good stuff in my notes.
No, I love it.
Yeah. And yesterday, so someone came up to me and in the gym, and Perry, like love your stuff, whatever. And I wrote down, like last night, like I was so present in that moment. Like sometimes I'm just like boom, boom. I was so present, and I was like asking questions, and it was like a very good conversation. I was like, I'm so lucky to be in a position to like have people come up to me and sort of share like a quick moment for me, and I know that it's a good moment for them.
Yeah.
And later in the day, like we went out for pizza for my mom's birthday, and like that was awesome. But then towards the end, I caught up with the owner, and we talked about how he should slice up his tomatoes a little bit bigger than the onions for the bruschetta. And like for me, dude, I was like, yeah, like that. And so I think and Tony Robbins says, where focus goes, energy flows.
Oh yeah.
When you start to focus, like it's practice. And this is why I said, it's not about the book you read, it's about what you do after the book. The practice of it is where the magic really happens. And I'm just so happy that you said hunt the good stuff, because I do think that it's an active choice to be a positive person.
Yeah, I mean, the kid after the bad game, right? It's not about like right after the bad game being, it's like, yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to be in the hard. Like it's okay to be in the feelings of the hard.
But then what about like,
yes,
in the moment when, because again, a lot of the people listening are 13, 14, 15 years old. How can they practice hunting the good stuff in the moment, maybe after a strikeout or two, or bouncing back after an error? And I want to hear your perspective from a coach's end, because I think it'd be beneficial for me and a lot of coaches out there. Like, how do you handle dealing with the kid who's going through X, Y, or Z in the moment, in the middle of the game? And then what do you tell to a kid to help kind of navigate that?
So again, I do think this is where it bleeds a little bit into, so there's definitely hunting the good stuff and like being optimistic and so on. And then there's part of it that bleeds a bit more into, your results don't dictate your process.
Sure.
I think it bleeds a little bit into that, because in the midst of performance, I do think that, you can look at part of your process and be like, okay, I didn't get the result that I wanted, but like if a player strikes out, it's, you know what? I swung at 2 pitches that were strikes,
Sure,
and that I could do damage on, and I missed them, right? I fouled one off, and then I missed the other one. So it's your choice about whether you want to view like, okay, I did things that were in my control, and then I the guy flipped in a curveball and I took it and he beat me.
Yeah. That's a
So
big mindset shift.
It's a massive mindset. It's a massive mindset shift, and I think it's a real thing to sit and not have a result and be able. It's very difficult for adults too to sit back and be like, I did this little part of it correctly, and that's something I want to build on. I'm seeing the ball actually pretty well.
Yeah.
And I know that like if I get to face this guy again, I'm not gonna that pitch that I fouled off. I'm not gonna miss that. And going into it, that second AB, it's the other part too, man. And I hope it's like this in youth baseball. I imagine it might not be as much as maybe, but I hit the ball hard. and it went right at somebody.
Yeah.
Like I can look at that as the result was not what I wanted, but it's not going to influence my process because my process was great. It just didn't give me the result that I want.
Yeah.
And I know it's difficult for professional baseball players. It's different. There's
a lot more at stake.
It is
definitely
professional.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But the kids definitely need to hear that the results don't dictate how they play.
Correct. And it's because if you're doing your process, right, the very few things within the sport that are in your control, if you're actually putting your energy and your attention into those things, at some point that the result is going to come. And it's really hard to sit back and just let that be.
Yes.
But man, if that's where your energy and your attention lies, and like you talked about, right, like where your attention goes, your energy flows.
Yeah.
In the long run, that works out
100%. And I think too, you know, there's a lot of guys that try to detach from the statistics and from the result, but they can't. And they keep falling back into the trap of like, I'm not doing well. But then they'll say, I don't care about the results. But obviously you do if you keep going back to like, why am I not doing well? For me, I think it's so important. It's so important with anything in life, but let's talk about baseball. Embrace all of it. Embrace the ebbs and flows. Embrace the process, because I think when you embrace, and Brian, you and I talk about this all the time, when you detach from any sort of result, but like truly detach from any sort of result and be able to shrug your shoulders at strikeout or home run, and you embrace the process, at some point it's going to flow, because you can't, I feel like the more I focus on things, the least likely they are to happen. Like, and I don't mean like have a target and tunnel vision towards something, but the more and more I focus on the things that I can control, the things that I desire, and the things that I envision, they just kind of happen as a result of doing the things in the process along the way.
Yeah. And I will say this out loud, that the phrase "trust the process" is overplayed in the world of sports. It's probably some of those things that you see on Instagram or Twitter. So to demystify what trust the process means, to break it down to tangible behaviors and things is, I think, really important. And so if you were talking about the process, right, and the capacity to recognize that while the results are important and it's a real thing, but we need to have our energy and attention on the things involved in the process. Like, the process is simply the fact of, is this something that I can touch, manage, influence, and control? And if it is, I'm choosing to give my energy and attention to those things. And if I am controlling those things and focusing on the fact that I actually have some influence over them, the eventual result that you're looking for is what will happen.
Right. And you play differently when you kind of go about it that way too.
You do. And again, like when we're talking about things that you can touch, manage, influence, and control, it's like, were my routines really strong going into the game today? Did I prepare in a way that put me in a position to be successful? Like, did I get quality sleep? Am I fueling my body? Like, am I focusing on the right things? Like, am I, doing my pre-pitch every time I'm on defense, or am I just sitting there pissed off thinking about how I got screwed over by the umpire? Like, like, am I reviewing like what this pitcher has? Am I watching the game instead of just like watching my at bat that I had? I'm talking a little bit more about like the big leagues where they have, in minor leagues where they have iPads and they're just like staring at the iPad they're swinging, but it's like, are you watching the game?
Right.
And so, it ties into like all of those things. Like, and even the other, like the last part is just like, am I invested in the mental game? Right. I think a lot of people talk about the mental game, like, oh yeah, I'm so into that.
Yeah.
And it's the first thing that falls off the plate when they're like, oh, I don't have enough time. Right.
Yep.
Oh, I don't have enough time.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go and I'll do my band work, and I'll do my plyo balls, and I'll do my S&C work, and I'll do whatever. I'll put this on my arm and get warmed up and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, I was going to do like 15 minutes of imagery every day before the game, but I don't have enough time, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to push that off.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to right now. Can you give like a little practical imagery exercise that kids can do at home?
I love
like,
imagery.
Before their game.
For folks at home, imagery is the actual correct process of visualization. Imagery is like the actual practice of closing your eyes and envisioning good things happening to you. And before you get going, I love that you brought it up, because I truly believe that majority of the things that have happened to us and this whole thing have come from just like pure imagery and conviction of
closing your eyes, like
being in that moment,
feeling the emotion.
Because I don't want to take away
No,
from
do it. You're talking about it before.
because and again, like mental performance, and this is the other thing that I really want to get into too. Mental performance is outlier quality work.
Yes,
it's not for the average person. And when you tell somebody that I'm going to close my eyes and envision something that I'm going to do later today or later this week, and my brain is going to connect to my body and perform,
the average person is going to think you're crazy.
The actual movements. And if I wanted to go play around the golf, I'll close my eyes and play the hole myself. Yep. And my brain will fire the same exact things that it's going to fire when I'm out on the golf course. People will look at me like going to a psych ward, but it is the truth. And I think imagery is such an underused skill, because it's an actual rep of a thing that you're going to do. Yeah. So please, Brian,
break it down.
Break that
Mental
down.
performance coach, Nikki Cass, everybody. Wow. Somebody paid attention when we were talking.
Bro,
dude,
come on. I used to show up. Brian and I used to meet once a week, and then it turned into like almost 4 times a week, because I just call him and I text him, and I just like, I'd have the notebook and then I review my notes, because I was obsessed. I was for sure obsessed, because I've seen what it can do. Yeah. And if it really is like building a moat around your state of mind. Yeah. And when enemies come, bad thoughts, external things we can't control.
It's like you have this like force field around
defense
you,
mechanisms to fight. And it doesn't mean that the bad things aren't going to happen. I have negative thoughts every single day. Yep. I think bad thoughts about myself. I sometimes think bad thoughts about people. And it's a fact. They're just cars going by on the road. Which ones we choose to pay attention to is up to us. But I wouldn't know that if I didn't have put in the time and didn't have all these tools to defend the enemies coming in, because they're always coming in. So get back to about the imagery.
Now we're talking about mindfulness. Holy cow, we'll get there. We'll get there. It's down the road. No, I mean, you did a great description of imagery. I think, some people call it visualization. We choose to call it imagery because it incorporates all of the senses, whereas visualization only talks about vision and like what you want to see. And so a lot of the ways that we talk about this is just the fundamental language of our brain is pictures. We think in images. We do. So like, if I tell you right now, say like, hey, close your eyes, and what comes to mind when I say the word house, right? Most people see their house, or they see a block image of a house, right? They don't see the word HOUSE, right? They see pictures. And so we think in images. And the great thing is that, and the benefit is that the brain and body, they sometimes can't distinguish between what's real and what's not in terms of like the images we're creating in our minds. And a perfect example of this is, for anyone that's had a nightmare, right? You're sleeping, you're having this very vivid story told in your mind, and then you wake up. Well, what's going on when you wake up, right? Your heart's beating, right? Maybe you're sweating, right?
Or you feel like, oh my God, that was so real.
That was so real. And for anyone that has little kids, right? Like, your kids are crying. Yeah. They're screaming. It's like, it's so
sometimes
real.
It's so,
sometimes Perry does. It's okay.
I cried before.
So sometimes it's so vivid. It feels so real. Yes. Right. But it's not happening. So that's a sort of counterproductive way of looking at it. But man, okay. So if it can feel real, right? If it can make us have physiological reactions, that's like, why wouldn't we use that for good? So when it comes to imagery, it's really about utilizing all of our senses, right? So there's sort of 3 aspects to it. It's the controllability aspect. So we control the image and the story that we want to tell ourselves. Like, what do we want to see? We control that. We can, right? Like, I could have Perry and Nick close their eyes right now and just say, I want you to kick a 50-yard field goal. Like, I mean,
I just nailed it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying the boys can't do it, but if I put them out on a football field, I probably couldn't do it. But in your mind, you can, right? You control what you see. Yeah. So there's controllability part of it. There's the vividness part of it, right? So we want to utilize all of our senses. It's not just about what will you see on the mound? What will
Right.
you see in the batter's box?
Right.
What do you hear? Right? You hear the parents. Maybe you hear like the little brothers and sisters in the background playing. Maybe there's music. Like what do you hear? You hear your teammates. What do you smell? Right? So it's, I mean, in a big league ballpark, like, right, maybe you're smelling the gum that you have, or the seeds in your mouth. But maybe at like a big park for youth, like you're smelling cotton candy or hot dog vendor, whatever it is. But like, what do you taste? Is it the sweat that's dripping down your face and you taste the saltiness of it because it's a hot day in South Carolina or whatever? Like, what do you feel? What's it feel like when you're in the batter's box and you have the glove in your back pocket, right? That you feel something. Like, what's the weight of the bat feel like? The vividness is real. Create a story. Tell yourself a movie. It's not just what you're going to see. Create the movie. Make it as vivid as possible. And the last part is perspective. So in our minds, right, we see the movies in different ways, and everyone's a little bit different. So there's some people that see it like an actual third person movie, right? So you're imagining yourself in the batter's box and you see your whole body, right? You see your whole body in there, and you could see all the movements you're going to do and so on. Yeah. Some people see it that way. And then some people, when they close their eyes and they imagine themselves in the batter's box, they see it like first person shooter, right? Like Call of Duty. So they see it through their own eyes. Whichever way you see it, it's totally fine. For those that are like trying to build some competence in what they're doing, sometimes that third person view is really helpful, right? Because you could see your mechanics, you could see all those things or whatever. For those that are maybe trying to build a little bit more confidence, seeing it through your own eyes is really helpful, right? Like seeing it through your own eyes, that's what you're going to happen. So as you create this story and you sit down and you're like, I'm going to go through an imagery exercise, play it out. Play the movie out, recognizing all of these different things that I just mentioned. You have control over what you see, and then you have the vividness part of it, and then you have like trying to get the right perspective. And the fact of the matter is that there is a physiological benefit to doing this. Yeah. And so
you keep bringing up first off, that's amazing.
Amazing.
And so many people are gonna watch this and practice it, see the benefit of it, and practice it every single day.
I don't want to cut you off just yet because this is really important. You just explained that so well.
Thank you.
And but I also, and I would like to counter explaining that, because we don't say but, we say and.
Yes, we do.
Yes, and I would and I would like to counter that by kind of like adding my own little flavor to it that might be a little bit more practical to just some kid. Like when I close my eyes and I envision something, like if you can literally put yourself in the batter's box, you're facing a kid, and you could hear the umpire here and like play the whole scene like an actual movie scene.
Yeah.
And you could feel the barrel of the ball hitting the bat. Chances are when you go up to the plate later that day, it feels familiar.
You've been there.
Yeah.
You've been there.
You've been there. You got the rep.
Difference?
You got the rep already.
Literally, your body has already been there. The same things happened in terms of like the swing. You felt it all.
Right.
Like, remember the exercise we used to do? Brian used to tell me to, like, close your eyes, raise your right hand. Okay, now close your eyes and think about raising your right hand. Boom. He'd be like the same exact muscles fired.
Right, and
it's
funny because like
nuts.
what people think they keep. Everyone says muscle memory. It's not muscle memory.
Right.
Like your muscle.
You know what I mean?
But your muscles don't have memory. That's
Right.
like the thing. It's like, you know, a little ways back we were talking. Nick kept making this like, he's like, oh, it's a super highway. It's like it's a dirt road. I wanted to like chime in and be like, he's talking about neural pathways, everybody. And it's like you know. And so I mean, what we're describing here is that the physical actions that you do as a performer and just as a human being, it's all driven by your brain, right? Yeah. We have 100 billion neurons in our brain, and there's these complex roadways and systems that occur when we do something physical, as simple as lifting our left hand, right? There's some neurons that fire back and forth, right? Yeah. And they shoot a message down your spine to help you raise your left hand. Right. And so that neural pathway is really fast because I'm left-handed. I raise my left hand all the time, guys. So like, it's fast. So in Nick's words, it's a superhighway, right?
Yes.
And so for me to do anything left-handed, it's pretty quick, right? To swing a golf club, to do all that stuff.
Right.
For me to do things right-handed, I don't do it very often, right? So like, am I capable of doing it? For sure. But some might say that like the neural pathways for doing that are a little bit less like grounded, right? And they're a little bit
Right.
less smooth. And so, you know, maybe it's like a dirt road or whatever it is. So
Yeah.
when we talk about wanting to strengthen your neural pathways to make it so you can do these things physically better, what we're talking about here is just getting reps in. And so
Yes.
the physical reps to do things a lot, you know, we have a capacity that we can do it physically without
Yes.
Yeah.
before we get tired, right?
Yes.
Before
Yep.
it starts, my arm starts to hurt doing this thing all the time. My arm, it's exhausting. And for baseball players, you have a limited number of reps. Pitchers, you can only
Yes.
throw so much. Hitters, like, you should only be doing so much. So do you want the extra reps?
Right.
Then do them physically, do them mentally, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Imagery's free, people.
Yeah.
It's
It
free.
is. It's free.
Imagery is
what
free.
What Brian's saying is, if you're a pitcher and you can't hit the zone, close your eyes, don't waste your arm, and envision and imagine with images every single one of your senses going to work, hitting the strike zone. Hear the pop of the mitt, hear the leather from that nice Rawlings heart of the high glove you got on your left hand, feel the hand going into the glove, and feel your mechanics going as you release the ball, and it's a perfect strike into the zone.
Yeah.
And do like a bullpen, like have a full blown
You can do a
bullpen
full
in your head.
bullpen session.
Like
Yeah.
this, we sound nuts talking, but it's it's real.
It's real. And
Totally
and
real.
again, like, there's nothing to stop you from doing that on the car ride to the game. Like, if your
100%.
parents are driving you, there's nothing to stop you from doing it.
like it.
I don't.
It's
Yeah,
not gonna help.
exactly.
Mhm.
And it will, though. And it
And it
will.
will.
And I think that's that's the difference between high performers and average people.
Yep.
Exactly.
Like, high performers don't leave things up to chance. And that's, I think, what I've noticed over the past decade or plus in baseball, and then the time in the military, like working for the Army, was the best performers, they just don't leave things to chance. And there's like really a unique perspective to an individual who feels so comfortable in their own skin to potentially look a little bit different because they are choosing to do something that they know will impact them in the long run.
Yeah.
And they are completely comfortable being an outlier.
Mhm.
They have
Yep.
no problem being different than normal. And that's what separates the
Yeah.
best from average.
Lucas
For an
Berg
ad
for
break.
3, cut
So
us
you know
for
what
an
we're gonna
ad
do?
break.
We're gonna go for an ad break real quick. Boom. See you in a second. Do me a favor. Close your eyes for a second. You can close them. Good. I want you to imagine it's a hot June summer day. You just played in a tournament, or you just watched your kid play in a tournament. You just went 3 for 4. Your kid just went 3 for 4. And in the air, you smell barbecue. Go back to the house, invite some of the teammates over, get a little bit of the music going. Maybe somebody's got a pool, the sun's beaming down, and the meats and the hot dogs and the Heinz ketchup and mustard are just waiting to be squeezed all over those dogs and burgers. Guess what? BL 101 is coming out with the barbecue collection. By the time you're watching this, it's out already. If you're a ball player and you love to rep the threads off the field, BL 101 is the only place you need to go. Baseball lifestyle, I've been wearing it forever. I've followed BL since I was in middle school, and it has been a heck of a journey to watch them grow. This stuff is the best in the game. Everybody who knows is wearing it. Do me a favor, go to BL101.com and shop the collection now and shop everything else they got. Love yous.
What a great ad. Brian,
Wow.
you like that ad?
You like
that? Loved that ad.
Love
Yeah,
it.
It was awesome.
One of the things that you said before, you kept saying physiological responses. I want to shift the gears a little bit, because this is something that I try to do, and I can't explain it the best way to a kid. And I know we felt this, is like when you're nervous, when you have butterflies.
Oh, bro.
Brian, you explain this so perfectly, and I want you to look into the camera and tell kids when they have butterflies, when they're nervous before a big event, before a championship game, a big at bat. Tell them what they need to hear right now.
Before he does that,
Okay.
I have
Are you
such
crying
a
right now?
great story. No,
Oh.
I have such a great story about what he's about to describe. So I was going to speak at Montclair, my old entrepreneurial class, and I was, dude, I was like, and so Brian literally was probably either in spring training or like at the field, and I have this one text that I send to Brian, and he's never, like, with a smile on his face, within 3 seconds answered with a call. I say, Brian, need you. Boom, phone call.
Yeah.
And he picks up, he goes, talk to me. What's going on? I'm like,
I
gotta
remember this.
go give a speech. Like, just Tell me about the nerve thing. Tell me about the nerve thing. Tell me what my nerves are doing right now. Because Brian, you're right, describes what being nervous is so great. And like, now that we know and understand, it just takes away all the pressure and stress from
People
it.
need to hear it, bro.
Yeah,
they
just give it to
Just
them.
not drop it.
I'm nervous. What does it mean?
What do I do?
I remember that it was actually laugh out loud funny, dude. I was at home, and I remember I was like walking around like giving this like speech, and Meg's like, "Who are you talking to?" I'm like, "It's fine." Nick's going to give a talk in Montclair. He's a little shook right now. We got this. We're squared away. It's fine. Yeah, it's funny. So when you're gonna do something that's important, your brain knows, right? And so it's not just like, I'm going to go hit in the bottom of the 9th inning with the bases loaded. If you're going to go take a big test, the SATs for the first time or the ACTs for the first time, if you're going to go ask a girl or a boy to prom and it's like really important to you, if you're going to go on your first date, you know, if you're going to go do something that's meaningful, give a speech, give a talk, give a presentation, whatever it is, your brain's like, okay, like this is happening, right? And so when your brain sort of decides this is really meaningful, it says to itself, well, if you're going to go do this really important thing, man, you need all of your energy, right? Like we need to mobilize some resources for your body to do this. And so it sets off a chain reaction of systems and processes in our body that will mobilize energy for you. So the first thing it does is it thinks to itself like, okay, what uses a lot of energy in our body? And so it's like, oh, the digestive system does, right? And so again, as we're talking about this, we're thinking about like, what are the physiological responses to being nervous, right? And you get all the normal ones of like, hey, everyone, when you're nervous, like what happens to you? I get butterflies. I feel like I have to go to the bathroom, maybe pee, poop, or puke, right?
Yeah.
I get like cotton mouth. I get like super sweaty. Sometimes when I'm gonna go, I'm like shaking. What's happening to me, right? Yeah. And so your brain is saying, all right, we're gonna mobilize resources. What takes up a lot of energy in our body? First thing, digestion. The digestive system, as it's going all the time, it is just using the body's energy. So your brain's like, let's shut it down. Let's shut down the digestive system. So when it shuts it down, right, because it takes up a lot of energy, when we're mobilizing for energy, shuts it down. So what happens? It flushes the body out, and you have to pee, poop, or puke. Like that's what happens when it shuts it. It flushes it out, right? That's what happens. Off. And once it shuts that down and it flushes it out, there's a change in acid reduction inside of our stomach. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the sensation of butterflies. What's really funny is that when you no longer have your digestive system going, your salivary glands aren't necessary, right? Because you don't need saliva to swallow food. So it shuts those down too. All of a sudden, I got cotton mouth. My mouth is like super dry. It's just, I don't need my salivary glands on because I'm not going to be swallowing food or doing anything like that. Which is funny. We just talked about neurons going back and forth and getting sent down our spine. So your brain's like, oh, I know what we should do. We should make the neural pathways, like we're going to send the messages really fast down the spine, right? Because the faster they get there, the faster you can do things. Well, a lot of times they're going too fast and your body can't keep up. So your hands are shaking, right? So you perform at an optimal temperature. So the sweat glands, right, will help to cool you down because things are going way faster now, right? Like, ooh, we want to mobilize energy. Things will help slow you down, okay? So now I just explained all of these like symptoms of nervousness. So the previous message to yourself was, I have butterflies, so I'm nervous, so I must not be prepared for this. My hands are shaking before I go and give this speech. It must be a sign that I'm going to do poorly, right? I'm drenched in sweat before this test. It must mean that I didn't study hard enough, right? I feel sick to my stomach before I step up into the batter's box. It must mean that I'm not prepared. I'm not going to do well. That's the story we tell ourselves. The story you tell yourself now is, my body's mobilizing energy for me to kick some ass. Like that's what's happening. That's what's happening. My body has made a choice. My brain has made a choice to put my body in a position to mobilize energy to perform at my best. That's the story we tell ourselves. Amen. That's the story parents tell their kids when they feel this way. That's the story that you get the choice to tell yourself now because you understand what's actually happening. And there is so much power in knowing and understanding what's happening to ourselves.
Yep.
Because you get to make the informed choice.
Mhm.
And personally, when you understand that, or when I understood that, I was able to focus on the thing that brought me back down to earth, which is my breath.
Right.
And so when there's countless times that I'm nervous, but when I tell myself that story and I say to myself, and we're going to bleep this out, but I'm like, I'm ready to go do some fucking cool shit every time in my head. And then you're able to, it's almost like everything's up here and then it's just kind of like, and then when you could get there and you could slow it down, then you could breathe correctly. And then if you could feel your breath, then you have all of the focus from your brain to go focus on the task.
Yeah.
And you're present.
Yeah.
And so your heart rate is low. So you have more control of your body to go do the things that you actually need to do.
Yeah.
Like for me, I get very nervous in confrontation, like in business when you have to have a hard conversation. That makes me very nervous. And I just take a deep breath. I assess what's going on. I say, like, I'll feel like I have to pee and then no, I don't. I don't got to pee. Yeah. I just peed. And they tell me I got to pee right now. And like, it feels like you got to pee like a gallon.
Yeah.
If I go do that, I ain't no pee coming out.
Yeah. For me, just knowing all of that was like a game changer, because I don't think people know that. Like, hey,
No.
when
Who
you're
would?
right, who would know that?
It's just like my favorite thing is it's like, oh, hello, old friend. Right. Hello. Like,
Yeah.
oh, like butterflies. I've been doing this for 15 years. I did a mastermind yesterday for like just like 8 executives on Zoom. It was a 90-minute call, and it's like clockwork. Megan was there. I was in the hotel room. I was getting ready, and she was like getting ready to leave with Marlo so I could do this talk. And she's like, "What's up? Like, how you feeling?" I'm like, "God, I'm like nervous." Like, you know, I'm like, I like feel all these things coming. It's like I've been doing this for 15 years, and I still get those same sensations. And I'm like, like it's like, oh, hello, here, old friend. But the coolest thing is like the coolest stuff that you do in your life happens on the other end of feeling nervous. It does.
It's
true.
true.
Now you know why. And so it's like the so-called nerves don't hold power over you anymore. You make informed choices. You say hello, old friend. You recognize your body and brain are mobilizing resources for you to be exceptional at what it is that you're going to do. And then you go and do it. And you get to have the awesome. And the cool thing is, like, everyone's watching this, you've all experienced all that stuff and you've still gone out and done great stuff afterwards. Like you've already done that. So now you just get that little extra edge of knowing what's happening. It's incredible. I
think it's so important that you just said that you get nervous after 15 years of doing what you know better than anybody else. And I think a lot of people assume that people that do cool things or people that they see on TV or Bryce Harper and Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge just don't feel nervous and they don't feel anxious or they don't feel scared. And they do. They all do. And the difference, though, is, again, they have things that they can implement to then bring them back down to earth and bring their focus back down to the moment. And I just think it's so valuable. Like 50 Cent has this book called Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter.
Shout out 50.
Shout out 50. I'm such a huge fan of 50 Cent. His music's great, but him as a person, that guy went through unbelievable trials and tribulations. In the beginning of his book, he says, and like, you know, you tell people that and they're like, 50 Cent, like, get rich or die trying, who cares? But like, nah. In the beginning of the book, he goes, I'm the most dangerous human being walking around. And I get afraid all the time. The difference is I use that fear. And I use it to my advantage. And it sounds like a crazy thing to say, but if you think about it, like fear of striking out, fear of not having your girlfriend say yes, a fear of just anything in general. Failure is such a strong emotion that, like you were saying, if used correctly, on the other side is like triumph, euphoria, like you can't even believe. But it's such a prohibiting feeling for so many people. I think I want to just hear you give a little bit on like how to use fear and how to use the negative emotions to then work in your favor, to be able to be comfortable being in those positions.
Yeah. What's step one?
Aren't you the one who says fear's
Fear's
afraid
afraid
of
of
you
you
too?
too.
Yeah, there's that's
Yeah.
a t-shirt, brother.
Yeah.
Shout out.
We actually have a sweatshirt for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna rock
Shout out
that.
Gary
Trust
V.
me, that's incredible. I mean, fear is afraid of you. I mean, that's like you have. I mean, I remember the first time you said that, I was like, holy crap,
Dude, wait, do you remember that?
I do. I was like, I was.
You were like,
I was like,
I think it came up on like a call or something.
It was absolutely
I was like,
incredible.
bro,
And-
like if you think about it though, like fear's like low key afraid of you because if like fear's like a bully, maybe I'll just give the spiel.
Do it.
Fear is like, and just tell me if I'm going off the
Go.
rails.
Just go off the rails.
Fear is like a bully, the big bad bully in school that you're afraid of. But meanwhile, the bully's worst day is the day that the kid he's bullying says, "I'm not afraid of you."
Yep.
No power on it.
Yeah.
0.
Mhm.
And fear is the emotion that is the bully. So all you have to do, and it's scary to even think about.
Did you just hit yourself?
Yeah, is face the bully that doesn't allow you to be your true self, the things that you want.
You just, the word that was incredible, by the way.
Thanks, brother.
The word that you mentioned in there was power, which I found to be like the one that stood out to me.
Yes.
Fear is just our interpretation of a situation that we're about to encounter.
Right.
Right. So if we're really trying to like, to not let that word scare us as much, like let's just say what it is. It's just our interpretation of what it is that we're about to do. And our brain will create a story, right? So the brain responds best to specific and precise targets.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't give it one, guess what it will do? It'll find one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's typically of not you being successful of doing
Right.
whatever it is you're about to do.
Right.
So if you want to counteract fear, give your brain a specific and precise target. And that target should be something that's within your control, something you can influence, and something about you doing whatever it is that you're about to do. I think recognizing, understanding the nerves that you might experience now, that could probably help, that we just talked about.
Yeah.
And again, like nerves and fear, maybe they can be kind of like interchanged and stuff. But the fact is that when you go to do something scary or you're fearful of an outcome, typically on the other end of it, like you said, it's like it doesn't hold power.
Mhm.
Like what does a situation hold? Like in reality, it just is. It just is the situation.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's whatever it is that you're about to do. It's our interpretation of that situation or of the potential outcome of that situation,
Correct.
typically, right? That creates these emotions that we let dictate how we feel going into it. It hasn't happened yet.
Right.
Yeah.
We haven't done the thing.
Yeah.
We have like, why are you letting something that hasn't happened yet impact what it is you're about to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That power is yours. Like
Right.
that's the difference, is that you have the power.
Right.
Like you have it.
And that's all about being present too in the moment. How do you, again, I like to bring it back to the practicality for kids to just use. How do you practice being more present in the moment? How do you not focus on your previous at-bats? How do you not focus on, if I don't get a hit here, what's my stats going to look like? How do you practice that?
Well, you can't predict the future. You can't change the past. So
There's a bar,
what can
too.
you do?
I mean, that's the answer
You
right
can
there.
influence. You can influence right here, right now.
Yeah.
How do you practice that? It's funny. Nick actually was talking about mindfulness earlier, and the example like that you used was pretty cool. It's actually a really similar story that we have daily mindfulness and breath work every single day on the schedule for Major League Baseball players.
Awesome. That's electric.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And the script a lot of times that I'll read talks about that. It's like, hey, you're standing in a big vast field and you're looking up at a blue sky and there's clouds in the sky, and the clouds are like your thoughts, right? Some are big, some are small, some move fast, some move slow, some are dark, some are light. And as you look up at them, they'll just come and go. And it's your choice about whether you want to be really fixated on one of those specific clouds and follow it and follow it and follow it and follow it. Or you can just let it go and you can just keep looking up at the sky. And like I mentioned about the brain responding best to specific and precise targets, the act of mindfulness is being focused on our breath, right? So we're breathing and we're focused on counting our breath and having our diaphragm expand. And then what'll happen is that inevitably after 15 or 20 seconds, or for some people that practice a long time, maybe it's a minute, you just like start thinking about stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
right? It's like, has it been a minute yet?
Yeah.
Dang, man, this
It's
feels like it's been
hard.
going on for a long time. And then I just remind people like, hey, like, it's okay if your mind has wandered.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna just come back to our breath, and it's without judgment,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
It's and the without judgment part is huge.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
It's like it's okay, dude. You're
And the more reps you take, you're going to get better
absolutely,
at
but your brain's not
Let me
used to just
tell
like
you-
being focused on the breath. It's not
Yeah.
it's not used to being quiet, right? So the act of mindfulness and being in the present moment is really quieting the mind. It's just in the world now where our watches buzz and there's lights and there's phones and distractions,
Sure.
you are constantly vying for something to stimulate you.
Yes.
So when you quiet and slow it down, the brain's like, ooh, I'm not so sure about this,
Yep.
you know?
I'm not
So,
used to this quiet
so
thing.
you want to continue to just come back to your breath, but it's without judgment, you know? And that's the important thing is you sometimes people get frustrated like, oh my God, I can only do like 30 seconds. Well, that's great. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome because you're going to continuously get better if this is a practice that you want to include in your life.
Any good mindfulness things people can look up, YouTube apps that you
I mean,
encountered?
I'm a big fan of like Headspace, the
I like
Calm app, and
Headspace.
my like Headspace. Andy Petticombe, the voice and creator of Headspace, his like intro video is his version of the Cloud Story, right? It's about like cars on a road, and you're just like watching the cars. He's got a beautifully like Australian or English voice.
Yeah.
It's like really soothing, and he explains that story, but he you know, those are great places to start. I mean, gosh, on YouTube now you can find
anything, right?
exceptional ones. If you're interested as a coach about potentially writing a script, like just if you go on ChatGPT and you literally put in the prompt of just like, I want to provide a 10-minute mindfulness script, you know, for my players with a focus on like maybe like clouds or a stream or car, like using the prompts like that, and then just saying like at the end of it, can it have like a performance orientation? It'll give you a 10-minute script, and you can read it to your players and guide them on it.
So, as you know, bro, I've been the journey to get to where I'm at mentally now has been a long trek up the mountain with bricks in the backpack, and I used to be, and from 0 to 20, I was a very present and happy person because I didn't really have anything around me to tell me otherwise. And then, you know, 20 to 23 was kind of brutal. And I had tons and tons and tons of anxiety. And I think, without getting into the specifics of like why, the point you brought up about the thoughts being like clouds and then coming back to your breath, oftentimes back then, what would happen is I would fixate on a cloud. And then the cloud would then cause all these things inside that really weren't even real. And thoughts create emotions, emotions create feelings, and feelings create actions. Right?
Close.
Thoughts create
behaviors, right?
Thoughts drive emotions.
Thoughts drive emotions.
Emotions drive physiology.
Emotions drive physiology.
Physiology impacts performance.
Physiology impacts performance. So my problem was the thoughts that I was focusing on created very negative emotions. And very negative emotions changed my physiology.
What's that cycle called?
Thought performance connection.
Thought performance connection. And my physiology then would conflict my performance. So when bad thoughts happen, I let them go and I recognize them and I come back to my breath. And it's almost like, you know, anyone who has had like panic or like anxiety, and I'm not the guy to be I don't diagnose. Like I get nervous and I got these because then for me, what that does is that further fixates on the problem, and it just that's what's happening. But what I will say is that nervousness that I used to get, is then just like met with the dude at the door, like, hey, 1 second, brother. Like, I'm gonna need you to take a spin around the block.
Yeah.
And then let me focus on Smiley over here showing up.
Mhm.
And like, you'd be amazed at it never coming back. Like it doesn't come back. And I think it's just really important in my mind to talk about that mindfulness thing, because it's so true. It's like, we are not our thoughts. Like if because for me, it always came from like being out in public and not knowing how to handle, like I wanted to make everybody happy, and like it just, I would go further and further away from myself, like along that journey. And like Brian was just like, well, it has nothing to do with like people knowing who you are. I was like, what? I was like, it has everything to do with that. He goes, no, you're just like hyper fixated on making sure that everybody has a good experience with you. Who cares? And I was like, dude, it was
It's definitely
like,
that simple, everyone.
yeah. I mean, but at the end of the day, like the emotions are very, very strong. But if you can distract that emotion for 90 seconds, that emotion will not come back to the club.
Well, it's because we're so in touch and in tune with our emotions.
And
our
I'm an emotional guy to begin
but
with.
it's like, it's so hard, right? You've like 100,000 thoughts, maybe a little bit more, whatever, a day. But I can't remember what I was thinking about this morning when my alarm went off at 8, right? Or like a little after. I can't remember what I was thinking on the drive over here. Like it's hard to remember our thoughts. But if I ask somebody, hey, what was the happiest day of your life? Like the emotion of happiness, I like that. Boom. Right in your mind, right? It's like emotions are so strong, like we remember them. And the reason we remember them is they're typically accompanied by some sort of physiological response, right? And again, it makes sense because our thoughts drive our emotions drive our physiology impacts performance. And it's not this simple, but a lot of times it's like, oh, you don't like that emotion you're feeling, change what you're thinking. Right. And it's, again, I am not saying that's how simple it is.
But that's the truth, though.
But it's the truth. So like this is what I'll oftentimes say to performers is like, okay, let's backwards plan this, right? So if performance is at the end of the thought performance connection, if performance is at the end, what does your best performance look like? Okay, tell me. Boom. So you tell me what it looks like when you're at your best on the mound or in the batter's box or in the boardroom or whatever. So physiologically, what do you feel like, right? Oh, I feel really loose, right? I feel strong. I feel these things. Okay, cool. What emotions drive that kind of thing? Oh, well, it's like the emotions of like excitement and there's a little bit of aggression in there. And so, okay, cool. So what types of thoughts would drive that? What could you say to yourself? What could you say to yourself to experience that?
Yeah.
I got to be saying like you're a focused dog. Like that's what it is. Or like, oh, I need a liquid aggression coursing through my veins. I'm going to say to myself like liquid aggression. Like that's what I'm going to say to myself. Okay. So now you're pre-planning, right? Like you're pre-planning those thoughts for performance.
Yes.
And so what did I say a long time ago? The brain responds best to specific and precise targets. Give it a target, else it'll find one. So now you're giving your brain a target by telling yourself the things that you know will elicit emotions and physiology that will put you in a best position to be successful. It's not guaranteed, but it'll put you in a position to be there. So it's like there's nothing wrong with pre-planning the things you're going to say to yourself. Like have those in your back pocket. That's part of the toolkit. That's part of the Swiss Army knife. Have those for yourself. Have the thing you could say.
100%. The amount of times I have conversations with myself, like my dad.
Who do we talk to more every day besides ourselves? Dude, nobody.
My dad. I used to like record like 30-minute like monologues, just me like
a voice memo.
Yeah, just a voice memo, just like yapping about things. And I like told my dad, and he was like, "Yeah, right." I'm like, actually, I'm awesome.
I'm doing great. I'm getting it out there.
I think to wrap it all in, like I think that comes with self-awareness being this is my opinion. I think self-awareness is the most important. I don't know if self-awareness is a mental skill, but it's the most important thing a high performer human being can have, because if you're not self-aware of your thoughts, your emotions, your physiological responses, then you're basically
just a reactive.
You're reacting, right?
Yeah. Well, you're leaving it up to chance, man. I mean, that's what I said. It's like you're leaving it up to chance, and it's for some people it's really hard, or they don't want to get into the way that they think
and face it. Right?
They don't want to face it because and listen, it's hard, right? It's hard to make a
Right.
change.
Right.
Change is difficult. We know it. We know it's difficult. Because you have to face yourself. There is like no more difficult enemy to face than yourself, right? And it's like, if you're challenging yourself daily and trying to beat yesterday's version of you, like obviously I know it's like a cliche that's out there on some mug somewhere, but it's so true. It's you talk to yourself the most, like you negotiate with yourself the most. But once you get a hold of like who you are, right, of what you need, and you choose to put yourself first every day, right? Like it might be counteractive to what some people think, but if you put yourself first every day, you are going to show up in a better way for those that you serve and those that you're with.
You have to protect your energy, and you have to protect you, because what I've noticed and what we've learned together, what you've always known and what I've learned, is if you are a friend to everybody, you are an enemy to yourself. And if you cannot protect what's important to you to make you good, you're actually doing a disservice to everybody you come in contact with. And you have all of us have gifts, and we have things that we can do better than others. And when you start to not protect those and fill the cups of the things that you are put on this earth to serve to do, you're doing everyone else a disservice. And I think that's so important. And it is selfish, but I think that you have to be selfish in order to be selfless. And before you go, I want to there's going to be 1 or 2 kids that watch this that are outliers, and they're surrounded by a bunch of people trying to pull them back to average. And in a very blunt, without swearing, but blunt way, I want to hear, because you really know how to fire somebody up. And if they're like, to all the kids that are watching this that are afraid to be themselves on sports teams, because you are the kid that works hard, and you are the kid that wants to be in bed at 9 o'clock, and you are the kid that shows up early and leaves last. Brian, what words of encouragement can you give to those kids about just being themselves?
Being different's cool, man. I mean, there's no other like sweet spot to say it, but being different is cool. I don't care what anyone says. I know it's villainized in like middle school and high school. And again, this isn't like being different's cool, because when you're on a big league field and you look back about all the things that you did to get there, it's freaking cool. Like there's just no other way to put it. And to be an outlier, you have to do outlier things. And to beat average, you have to do things that are above average. And if you want to be like everyone else, do what everyone else is doing. If you want to be better, do better things. There's no other way to say it. Like you have to do things differently. And when people see different, they get uncomfortable. And as long as you're comfortable being uncomfortable, you're going to thrive in that experience, and you're going to reap all the benefits of it. The cool thing is too, is as you get older, you're going to start to be around other people that are like you. And then you're going to absolutely freaking thrive.
That's when the circle gets smaller, but tighter.
Your circle gets so small. And that's like what this is,
You're
man.
14 years older than us. I mean, not to just blow you up, but you're
damn.
No,
I guess the ball thing played.
Think about
the ball
this,
thing
though.
played.
Like when we first started this, like when I got this opportunity and I was doing the things that I was doing, I was by myself every single day grinding. And I hate saying the word grinding, but that's really what it was. You feel alone. I didn't see my friends. And, you know, even in college, I would bring bags of grilled chicken to the games, and I'd weigh out all my food, and I'd do all these things that really look like what mental institute are you coming from? And Perry could definitely second that.
The other day, he came into the office last week. He had a scale, and he was weighing his strawberries. Outlier.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
But I think this is very humbly me saying, if I were to write a list of all the things I've done in the last 3 years, your jaw would hit the floor. And that's not for anyone but myself. But what it is for is if you're that kid right now, I was that kid. I still am that kid. And we're all these kids. and we're products of being that kid full-heartedly. And I think it's just so important nowadays because there's so much out there. Like, we were lucky. We didn't have to go on social media and compare ourselves to all these different guys and girls doing X, Y, and Z. And it makes it so much harder, but you know what? You're built for it. And I think just the you really threw me for a loop with the weighing out my strawberries thing. I'm thinking about.
Listen, I chill with 25 of those kids every single day at a ball field. They all have a different story of how they got there.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that the majority of them knew that they were going to get there, and they did whatever it took to find their way to a major league field, even when they were told that they were too small, they were too slow, they weren't big enough, whatever it might be. Doesn't matter to them. They all knew that they were going to get there. If you know you're going to get there, find the way.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, I think that's another quality. It's like, it doesn't matter what happens along the way. I know the end goal. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
It literally, bring everything you got, and it'll never be enough.
Yep. If there's a will, there's a way.
You know?
Love you.
Boys,
Miles.
this has been a long time coming.
I love you.
I mean, we do it on the phone all the time and via text message, but the capacity to be here in person to do it, I can't thank you guys enough for the opportunity, and more importantly, the fact that you guys share this information with kids. I think kids are and parents are the most underrepresented in mental performance coaching, and so there's nothing better than being able to serve this. And I can't thank you guys enough for just being great human beings across the way, impacting myself, but more importantly, my family. God knows that Meg, Marlo, and Mac love you guys too. So just appreciate you guys so much.
Thanks. Wait,
Love
before you go, sorry. You're around a lot of ball players and baseball players. What makes a ball player, Bri?
They don't leave things up to chance. They control everything in their power. They do not leave things up to chance.
See ya. That's unbelievable.
Hey, follow Brian on Instagram at Brian C. Miles.
Gotta get that.
Plugging you.
He's gonna start finally posting some clips. That's the thing,
We're
and that's
clips.
how you know. Honestly, like, that's how you know that dude's real.
Yep.
He doesn't post it. He got his people. He does his work. It just. I love you, Bri.
Hey,
Good
man,
shit.
work in silence, baby. You know.
Yeah. It's about that time. Ripping packs. Presented by Tops. What a segment. My favorite segment on the show. Our only segment on the show. And today we got, again, the Tops Chrome Black 2023. One encased chrome autograph and one refractor parallel per box. There's 4 cards. No, I muted Perry's mic. We're going to keep this rolling. We're going to keep this rolling.
So you don't even know what I said before?
No, it probably picked it up a little bit from the mic. Probably wasn't even important.
Right. I said ripping packs.
We're ripping packs. All right, so we have a little bit of an audience too. Actually, we got Lucas Berg for 3 right here.
And then shout out John Cox.
Shout out John Cox.
John Cox. John Cox.
John Cox. Yep, I know. John, big news. The Pacers won Game 1 of the NBA Finals.
Yes, sir. Also big news from John.
No.
Also maybe moving moving with his wife.
With his wife. Also big news.
Etc.
Also big news. John is pretty much 6'2". Boy. All right.
What the helly?
What the helly, Burton? All right. Tops Chrome Black. You know the drill. We take a big razor cutter.
Be careful, don't cut yourself.
I'm good. Vibes are high today.
Yep.
It's Friday. Perry's getting out of work early for the 2nd week in a row.
You know what?
All right. What the helly, Burton? Here we go. Ripping it up.
What the heliante?
What the heliante? All right.
Last time we had Byron Buxton as the main one.
Okay, today.
A little ASMR.
All right. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. I think it comes. Yeah. All right. Here's what we got right now. Lucas, you might want to op that camera a little bit. Maybe.
Yeah, op it. Do a little
op it up,
hand op.
Yeah, hand op that. Get a little zoomed in. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out Lucas.
Shout out Lucas Berg for 3. Okay. So.
He wants you to raise it up. He wants you to raise it up.
All right.
Yep.
Raise it up. Okay. Oh wait. So there's a.
You don't remember from last time?
No, there's a pack first.
Yep.
Close your eyes. Okay. Got the pack.
Okay.
First, this is where the refractor is.
Yes.
Dun, 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 dun. Sorry, I don't know why I did that.
Do the
Yes.
ripping packs with tops.
Ripping packs with tops. All right. Lock in. All right, close your eyes.
Okay. I'm just not gonna look.
Okay. First and foremost, raise it up. We have-
Oh yes.
Oh, yes.
Bro.
Yordan Alvarez.
He's good.
Great player. Oh, here's our refractor at 99.
Shohei
Shohei! Wow!
Ohtani.
That's unreal.
Let me touch
at a
it.
99. Wait, this is a sick card.
Let me touch it.
No, careful with the corners.
Do the like the.
All right, with the corners. To be honest, don't really care about the other card.
Oh.
Bro, I mean,
I didn't know there's another card
he
underneath.
just dropped it, dude.
66 out of 99. Shohei Ohtani.
And then we got his Oswaldo Peraza. Okay.
Oswaldo. I'm sorry, bro. Oswald.
Oswaldo Peraza.
Oswald.
Oswald Peraza. I saw Oswaldo.
Shohei.
Shohei Ohtani at a 99. That's a great card. That's a great card. All right.
Wow.
Gently put him down.
I just want to keep looking at him.
Why you gotta be like that, man?
No, because you know what? I haven't really like tapped into cards in a while, and I'm really intrigued by this. Oshu, Japan. Nice.
You ever been to Oshu? Maybe
No,
we'll go.
I'm down. It's probably Shohei's all over the place, right?
May have to cut that out.
No, it's Shohei.
What do you mean by that?
Like there's Shohei's advertisements and signs
Oh.
all over Japan. That's what I heard. I don't think it was that bad, Lucas Berg for 3.
All right. Here we go. Here's our refractor. No, here's our autograph. Here's our autograph. Lucas is going like this. Here's our autograph.
Yes, let's see it.
Here's our autograph.
Rip it.
Who's it
Come
gonna
on,
be?
come on, come
Oh
on.
my god! Oh my god! I saw a rookie card.
You
Oh
know-
my god! I saw a rookie card. I saw a rookie.
Are you
card.
freaking out, John? Because
Oh, I just saw a rookie card.
go ahead. Unveil.
Bo Naylor! That's lit!
we just saw Bo
we saw him last night.
Wow.
Bo Naylor,
Shout
signed
out
rookie
Bo.
card.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Dude.
We love the Guardians. We love Bo.
Shout out Cleveland. Shout out our guy, B Miles. It's happening in this episode.
Wow.
Look at that.
Brian, you're going to be happy, man.
Bo Naylor. That's a sick signature out of
Yeah,
Bo.
that's a
Zoom in on that, Lucas. Can you? Yeah, show Lucas Berg for 3. Yeah.
love it, Bo.
Yup. And thanks for joining us on the other episode of Rippin' Packs presented by Tops. Yeah, that's awesome.
Wow.
Bo Naylor and Shohei Ohtani.
That's
at a
that. This
99.
is a good. That was a good pull.
Guys,
Yeah.
what are you doing? If you want to get into the card game, you got to go to Tops and you got to get yourself some cards, and you can have as much fun as we're having right here in this hot and sweaty studio. And who knows? Maybe you'll get a Shohei rookie autograph. Who
Wow.
knows?
That's yeah.
Maybe not though, or maybe. I don't know.
Thank you, Tops.
Thanks, Tops. Shout out.